Yeah, so after all that, I make leather wallets. I went on holiday a couple of years back now, probably getting on for 3 years, something along those lines. I went to Turkey, and in the resort, there was when you have the shops in the resort, there was a watch stall. So a South African bloke, best accent I've ever heard, was there, and he was like, "Do you want to buy a watch?" And I was like, "Oh, I've got a nice watch, but I quite like your watch straps. Will it fit my watch?" And he had a lot, and he went, "No, they're too wide, but if you're happy, I'll trim it down a size." And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." So I went, "Yeah, go on then." So he got his strap out and he cut the corners of this watch strap off, and he fit it onto my watch. And I was like, "Oh, that's possibly one of the coolest things. I've now got something that's made for me."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I quite like that buckle. Can I have that buckle instead?" He went, "Yeah, no problem." So he swapped the buckles over, and I was like, "Oh, this is magic." And I was wearing this watch strap, proud as punch. And I said to this, I said, "I could make one of these." And he's like, "Oh, here we go," sort of thing. I was like, "Well, if you think you can do it, try it." So I went home and I Googled, I YouTubed, I looked on forums, how to make a watch strap, how to make a wallet. I brought lists of what they were using, what tools they were using, and I compiled this list in one list. And I spent about 500 quid on the cheapest, most basic leather tools you could find. And I still use that from the day, to be fair. And I tried to make a wallet, which was horrendous. And I swear, you folded it in half, and this wallet, when you folded it in half, was smaller than a bank card. It's up there somewhere. So I went, all right, okay, that was horrendous, but let's try again. So I made another wallet. That was worse. You kind of you shook it and it looked like paper. It was horrendous. So I was like, I'm really, really bad at this. So I went to the range, bought a big box, shot it all in, stuck it under the desk, and forgot about it for a couple of months. So this was probably July. And then in the November, I start 2 years ago.
2018.
So, yeah, 2018. Yeah. So this was in July 2018. Then in the November, I started as a sales manager for a marketing company. So November 18. And while I was so when I joined there, I left the fire service. I went, you know what, I've done my time. There's a lot of commitment. I want to get my life back. I'll put all my time into this marketing company. But at the same time, I went, I've now got 90 hours a week free on my afternoon. So what am I going to do with this time? So I went, I'll try that leather thing again. So I went on YouTube and I searched how to make leather wallets, and I found out about this material called vegetable tan leather, which is the stuff up on that wall. I don't know if you can see it, but that's what that is there. Okay. That wall of leather. So I learned about this thing called vegetable tan leather, and I bought some in, and I sort of made it in the plain colour, and it turned into a wallet, And I was like, oh wow, this actually fits cards. It looked bad. It wasn't a nice wallet, but it worked and it functioned. It held cards, And I was like, oh wow, I've made something here. So Christmas was coming up, so I went, oh, I'll make, blah, blah, a bookmark, and I'll do this, and I'll go on Etsy and see what other people are making, and I'll try making some of them, and all that sort of stuff. And sort of after doing the Christmassy presents and stuff, January came around, and I mentioned this to a few people, and a friend of mine, called Sam, said to me, hey, Stu, could you make us an Apple Watch strap? And I went, why not? Let's give it a go. So I charged him £35 for an Apple Watch strap, which cost me about 45 quid to make. So I lost it, but, it worked. The strap worked. It went in his wrist. It closed. It looked nice. In all intents and purposes, I'd made a product for a watch which worked, and and somebody bought it. All right, I lost money, but I literally, somebody bought something I made, and it was the best feeling. So I tried a few other things, and then it kind of got around the network. So this was in February, they bought the watch strap. In the March, I think I saw about 6 things, and then in sort of the April, there was about 10 things, and it just started getting busier because it had gone around this network that I built up over a decade. Well, this time it was about 8 years. Word was getting out, and I was going to meetings, I was going to networking events, and go to people, which I wasn't there to represent. I was there for the marketing company. People go, oh, Stu, I love the pictures you put up on Facebook of that wallet. I love this, I love that. Or how was this going? And people got really interested in it. And then, I got my first official resale, which was Rockcliffe Hall.
Nice.
And they started putting some stuff in there, and it just started picking up traction. And then in January this year, Go Limitless, the company I work for, the marketing company, they closed the doors. They went into liquidation or whatever they wanted to call it, but they just shut down. And in that week, so it was the 21st of January, Coupland Leather had made 600 quid.
And that's this year, 2020.
That's this year, yeah. That's this year. So this January, Coupland Leather turned over £600, turned over, not profit.
Yeah.
And most of that was mates rates anyway. And Go Limitless went, yeah, we're closing the door. And, word spread it was. And I had, in the same day, on the 21st, I had about 4 job offers. People going, Stu, if you want to come work for us. Mm-hmm. And I sat there and I went, you know what, if I said, yeah, all right, John Smith, I'm going to come work for you. And the first thing I do is pick my phone and I go through my contact list and I'd ring all the people and go, here, I'm now doing this. Mm-hmm. Do you want to buy it? Mm-hmm. And I went, if I went full time, all I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my phone and go, hey, mate, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Do you want to buy something? And I went, if I go and work for, I've never failed to make somebody money. Mm-hmm. Everyone I've made work for has profited from
mm-hmm.
me. So I went, if I can make money for them, why can't I make money for me? I've tested this for 2 years. We've had really good months for everybody. Bad months. The bad months is because I've had good months in my actual job. So more time has gone there, and the good months is kind of there's not as good things in the actual job. And and it was always the more effort I put in, the more money I made out of it. The less effort I put in, the less money I made out of it. And I went, if it's possible, I'd give myself 10 days. So I gave myself to the 31st of January, and I went, if I can make a good enough amount of money in 10 days mm-hmm. doing this, mm-hmm. then I'll do it full time. If I can't, then I won't. And in that week, or that 10 days, we made 1,600 quid.
Wow. Because you're not giving yourself a huge amount of time to really make it work. Because when I started my first photography company, because in my scholarship, I used to get paid quarterly. So I used to get £4,000 per quarter or whatever it worked out to be, 4,200. And I had that plus my savings from when I was working overseas. And I went out and I bought an iMac and lights and stands and everything. And basically, if I couldn't make my money back within 3 months doing university black tie balls and stuff, I couldn't pay my rents. But at least I had 3 months. 10 days is next level.
It was 10 days because I had no savings. I'm horrendous for spending money. So I had no savings. The company I worked for paid me the 4 months' wage mm-hmm. on the 21st. So my January was covered. Well, technically my next month was covered, wasn't it? Yeah, so my February was covered. I had money for the February, but come the March, I had nothing. I didn't make anything, I had nothing. So I sat there going, right, you've got 4 job offers. So all of them, I said, let me get back to you, was what I basically said. I didn't say no. I said, let me just come back to you and let me see what's available this Saturday, and I'll come back to you sort of early Feb. And I just rang everybody. I remember standing in the shower on my phone, texting people, going, hey, do you know anybody who wants this or this and the other? I'll be honest, I got pity sales. People bought some because I've just lost my job. I've got this leather thing. Do you want to buy a wallet? And people did because the friends, and that was sort of what friends do, I guess. Mm-hmm. One a good friend of mine owns a mechanical company, and he bought 6 book covers from me in my first month, which was a big chunk, about 700 quid. It was a big chunk. Mm-hmm. And I went, oh, wow, this is fantastic, this, and you got that feeling of a sale, but you got that feeling of a sale where the money's yours.
Yeah.
And it's different. So I kind of went, if I can make the money this month, then we can go with this, because at least the next month's covered for cash flow.
So you're now, what are we, 9 months in? How's it going?
Very well.
Because has lockdown affected you much? Obviously, you work from home.
It did. So in February, we done about 2,200 quid.
Okay.
In March, we done 600 quid. And that was the first week. And as everybody, you're seeing this huge drop, and you went, oh shit, what are we going to do? And it was that whole, do I get a job? I applied for Amazon. I actually got an Amazon job, but just didn't take it, basically. Because went through that panic stage. Mm-hmm. And it was the missus, you know, you obviously asked me to come on the show because, you know, you've seen the stuff. And I get a lot of messages from people saying, I love your work, this, that, and the other. And it was missus when he said, Stu, if you take an Amazon job, everybody who's sort of following you and sort of looking up to you and watching you and all this, they're going to see you give up. And they went,
you're not necessarily giving up, but
you're
just doing what you have
like
to
a
do.
Betrayal.
I know what you're saying.
So I kind of went, you know what, no, I'm going to push through, and I'm glad I did, because I felt as though if I took a full-time job, what was going to happen was I was going to get reliant on an income from somebody else. And if I got reliant on income from somebody else, then I wasn't going to take that risk again to go back to myself. So I stayed strong with it. Now, March was bad, you know. April was a lot better, and every month it's gotten bigger, you know, bigger and bigger. And I don't know what it is or anything. Well, I can do it's the social media side of things, which, you know, you've sort of mentioned a few times. That was a very pleasant accident, my social media. I think, and I definitely think that was the key to my success was those videos that people have seen and watched and liked.